When you get stuck, you can't move forward. You cannot become the person that you were meant to be, and you certainly can't fulfill your purpose. You need to experience in them so that they will diminish. Your life is happening for you, not against you. You're learning and you're evolving every day. And the challenges, whatever it is just a learning opportunity.
Welcome to the Self-Care Goddess podcast, where healing stories, practical self-care strategies, and science-backed tools to regulate stress, feel calm, grounded, and energized come together to help you reclaim your vitality. I'm your host, Rita, Savoia, holistic nutritionist, trauma-informed breathwork coach, and founder of Breathwork Barista. This podcast is for women who are ready to restore their energy and radiance, reconnect with their bodies, reawaken their inner power, and redefine self-care as a way of being. Through science meets soul practices, restorative mind-body tools, and real stories of transformation, we'll explore how true well-being can help you live with more joy, vibrant health, and authentic connection to yourself and those you love. Take a deep breath in, let it go, and let's begin. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Self-Care Goddess podcast with today's theme, It's Okay Not to Feel Okay. How women handle loss. I'm very excited to speak to our beautiful guest here today. But before we start, as you know, on the Self-Care Goddess podcast, let's tune out the outer world for just a few minutes and tune in. I invite you to lower your gaze or even close your eyes if you feel comfortable and can. And just notice your breath flowing in and out of your body. We can breathe in through the nose and then let's sigh it out through the mouth with a sigh. Building a lot of beautiful intentions as we inhale, whatever it is that we want to bring into our bodies, our mind, our life, whether it's peace, calm, more love, breathing that in. And then letting go with a sigh, letting go of any stress, any tension, any unresourceful thoughts, emotions. Just continuing to breathing in, opening yourself up, and then releasing, letting go with an audible sigh. I invite you now to channel the breaths into the area of the heart. So start breathing in and out of your heart area. Energizing this beautiful organ that's keeping you alive. And as you breathe in and out of your heart, I invite you to visualize someone that you're grateful for today, living or past. Visualize this person as if they were right here in front of you. And I invite you to send them all the love, the gratitude, and the appreciation for them being in your life. As we continue this beautiful space of gratitude and appreciation, I invite you to turn the attention onto you and send yourself some love, some gratitude, and appreciation for being here, making the time for self-care and self-love. On your next inhale, just flutter your eyes open and come back to us. Thank you. Thank you for participating in that quick coherence technique just to get us grounded and into coherence with our mind our heart and our body. Thank you. So we have Natalie Mascucci here today. She is committed to helping individuals overcome adversity and live empowered lives. After teaching in Ontario for 35 years, she returned to university during the pandemic to obtain accreditation in cognitive behavioral therapy. In addition to being a certified teacher, Natalie is a motivational speaker, empowerment coach, and successful author. She founded Empowered Life Coaching Foundation, a non-for-profit organization that offers high-quality life coaching to individuals seeking empowerment regardless of their financial circumstances. Natalie specializes in trauma and loss. Her goal is to help people renew their mindsets, enabling them to become the best selves and move forward to pursue their goals and dreams. Natalie exemplifies the significant benefits of overcoming the past and leading empowered lives. Thank you. What an honor to be here today. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your amazing story with us. How are you, Natalie?
I am great. Thank you so much for having me, Rita. You are such a bright light, and I am so grateful to be on this podcast with you today.
Yes. So tell me a little more of your personal journey and what has influenced specifically the mission that you're on now.
Yes. Well, as you said, I was a teacher for many, many years. And during the pandemic, I noticed that the pandemic just exasperated the mental health crisis that was already existent in our society. And you could see that not just with the students, but with the parents, with staff, with just everyone in general. And so I really wanted to help. And I thought, how can I do that? And so that's when I decided to go back to university and get some more tools in my toolbox to be able to help people to figure out that anxiety, that stress. And that's how I came actually upon meeting you as well.
Right. Yes.
And thinking of learning about different modalities and different things that people can use to handle that, because otherwise they get stuck. And then when you get stuck, you can't move forward. You cannot become the person that you are meant to be, and you certainly can't fulfill your purpose. And so my journey that's part of my journey. Before that, I had to overcome childhood trauma. And I kept my feelings bottled up for many, many years. I thank goodness that I forgot. I could not remember parts of what happened to me. And I think that was just a blessing in disguise. And I bottled that up and I bottled it up and I pushed it down. And it started to manifest itself in my body. And I had extreme anxiety, paranoia, I had stomach problems, all kinds of health issues, and then just feelings about myself, feeling awful about myself, self-loathing, wanting to self-harm, just awful. And so it wasn't until I did what I encourage my clients to do, and that was face what I had experienced, actually face it head on, is when I was able to get freedom. And it's the same with loss. If you don't face it and face those feelings, sit with them, process them instead of pushing them down. See, I suppressed them for so long, they just wanted to come up. And they got to a point in my life, Rita, that I couldn't suppress them anymore. It was almost like God or the universe was saying to me, Natalie, now is the time you need to deal with this. You need to get unstuck because there's stuff for you to do. There's a purpose for you.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you for sharing that. And that's the title of your book. It's okay not to be.
Yes, that's the title of my latest book. It's okay to not feel okay. Because I noticed that a lot of us don't feel okay, especially women. A lot of us are dealing with grief. We're grieving. We have experienced different types of loss in our life, but we don't recognize that we're actually grieving. And so what happens is we gaslight ourselves and we're saying, why am I feeling this way? I shouldn't be feeling this way. What's wrong with me? And a lot of times people don't realize that they're grieving because they think that, grief only comes from bereavement. But grief comes from so many different things. I mean, I grieved when the kids moved out of the house, when we became empty nesters. I grieved when I retired from my job as a teacher. Sometimes we can grieve the choices that our kids make that are different than the ones that perhaps we envisioned for them. Or you can grieve a friend moving far away, or the end of a relationship, the end of a marriage. And it's a loss. You have suffered a loss, but I guess in society, people think you're falling apart, as opposed to maybe you're just coming together. Maybe this is a process that you have to go through in order to come together, to evolve. And so that's why I wrote the book, because I don't want people to be stuck, and I don't want them to question, why am I so mad all the time? Why am I so sad? Why am I so frustrated? Why am I so anxious all the time? And allow themselves to heal.
Yes, and I love that. And can you explain a little bit more how it gets manifested in our bodies?
My gosh. Well, I've got to say this. Women process grief differently, loss and grief differently than men. We hold so much grief in our bodies and loss. And that's why what you do, Rita, is so important, because breath work, we hold loss in our lungs. And that's why breath work is so important. It's a wonderful release. And I encourage my clients to use breath work to help them. So definitely it manifests in so many different ways. And I kind of told you some of them just myself, what I had gone through. But what happens is when you're grieving, your body is in that flight and fight mode all the time. And so your hormone of cortisol is released, and stress hormones are released in your body. They stay turned on.
Mm-hmm.
And that builds up, and it affects, according to the Mayo Clinic, it says that it affects your digestive system and also the regulation of your heart. So people can have like heart palpitations, they can have raised blood pressure, they can have inflammation, joint pain, headaches, digestive problems, reduced, lowered immunity. They're susceptible to more diseases. And it definitely affects your sleeping habits. And also, when you have this in your body, you tend to want to deal with it. And what do? You get into unhealthy coping systems. How can I make myself feel better because I just feel so shitty all the time,
Not only the pharmaceutical approach, which is put a Band-Aid on it and take some sort of pills to numb that pain, but you're right, like even in terms of food, for like comfort foods, right? That are not the healthiest. And then you end up just binging and watching something because you're not feeling like energetic, you're feeling lethargic. So all of these things it affects your
Exactly. It affects so many things, like your appetite, your sleep habits, your mood, your energy, your focus. Yeah, just so many things.
Right. Wow. Really interesting. And I do urge listeners and viewers, if any of this resonates, please look into it, because you're right. It's something that we can definitely address, and you don't have to live with it for the rest of your life, or, it is what it is. It just is. No, it doesn't have to be this way. That's why
there is hope.
Yes, exactly. I love conversations like these. But it's interesting you talked about the different types of grief. It really got me thinking, like, you're right. Like, really anything is a loss, right? And even
the loss of a pet is so traumatic.
Oof. Exactly. Yes. And
not everybody understands that.
It can be this little T that not a lot of people talk about, or a lot of people know about the big T stuff that happens in your life. But it could also be these, like, even daily, like, traumatic things that happen that add up and make you stuck in this sympathetic nervous system state. And I think when we first, or I remember when we first started talking about getting on the podcast, we also, you were asking me what's the audience, and I said, oh, midlife, going through perimenopause, menopause. And she's like, oh my gosh, that's another, right? Menopause is another area, or even perimenopause. I mean, we're losing those fertile years, right? We're losing that fertility, and that can also be manifested into some sort of loss or sort of grief that we go through as women.
It puts your body in stress. You're right. And that's why dealing with it, so the very first thing I do with people is I tell them, you need to acknowledge your feelings.
Where
If
you're
you're in
at.
menopause, whatever it is, whether you've experienced a loss, the very first thing you should do is acknowledge it, name it, experience it. Because menopause, it affects women in so many ways. I mean, our hormones, our emotions, our weight, our skin, our hair,
Sleep.
symptoms like hot flashes and night sweats. And so I can help women to transition through the stages of grief and menopause, the premenopause, then the during and the after. And I help women incorporate different things that can help them cope with the symptoms of menopause and better manage, like you said, that loss, because it is a loss. Your body is changing. You can no longer have children. You're now into the next season of your life.
Right.
And I think women need to develop like an emotional resilience. They need to develop healthy coping systems. And that's why what you and I do is so important, because our feelings were never meant to be fixed, but they were meant to be felt. They are indicators, they're not dictators. So they don't have to dictate our behavior. They don't have to dictate our mood. We have control over that. And you and I can share strategies with people to help them get that control so that they're not overtaken by some of these symptoms, some of these mood swings that happen during menopause, right?
Right. Yeah. And then it can really mess up your relationships. Right. So there is this really crazy stat that a lot of women go through divorce at the same time that they're going through menopause is because they're, these emotions and hormones are dictating their behavior. And so I love that. It doesn't have to be a dictator. It's an indicator of the, hey,
Yes.
something is going on. Let's address it. So what are some of these strategies and techniques that you share with your clients to help manage grief?
Well, the number one that I told you already is that I tell people emotions are not bad or wrong, and feelings are just information. So, what I tell people to do is sit with them and experience them. Don't suppress them like I did. Don't ignore them. Don't just say, oh, it's nothing. I'll be okay. We always do that as women, don't we? We never take care of ourselves, but we can't do that. So, that's the first thing I tell people is that you need to experience in them so that they will diminish. You weaken a feeling, an emotion, if you acknowledge it and you take the time to sit with that feeling. And if that means you have to cry, then you cry. And that means if you have to scream, you scream. If you're angry, if you have to hit something. But I always tell people, let it out. And then you use gratitude, so I'm not going to use too much gratitude, but I'll do things like growth mindset with people where I'll tell people, listen, your life is happening for you, not against you. You're learning and you're evolving every day. And the challenges, whether it be menopause or whatever it is just a learning opportunity. I actually wrote down in my notes for today's podcast, I said, menopause is a formidable opponent, right? That means it's an opponent. It's not going to take us out. Yeah. We're not going to let it get us off track. Yeah. It's just another challenge that we as women have to go through, but we're going to come out of this better than before, stronger than before. We have a sisterhood of sisters and people like yourself to help us.
Yes, thank you. My friend is going through a particularly very difficult health challenge. And actually, just this morning, I just found it really tough to share. Like, maybe you can give me some advice on how to do this, just to share or help her, motivate her, and say, I know this, you can't see that right now, but this is all happening for you. And what is your advice to people that are going through like a very, very challenging moment, whether it's, a loss, a health issue? What would you say to them that would really help them pick up their
But what I find that helps is always to look for a different perspective, always look to the silver lining or the positive side. But cognitive reframing really helps. I get to rather than I have to. So to stay positive, I get to take care of these children. I get to go to work. So many people are unemployed. Others are lying in hospital beds wishing they could go back to work, right? So sometimes it's about perspective. It's about flipping the script and helping people to see the other side that, yes, it sucks right now, but this problem has an end date.
Yeah.
This is not going to last forever. And, and so
what's a good
right now.
Yes. What's a good reframe for health for somebody's having a health challenge? What would you recommend?
I'm struggling right now. I'm going through this right now, but I'm getting stronger every day.
Nice.
I would definitely do some positive affirmations
Yes,
as
I told
well.
her that today. Okay, awesome. Okay, yeah.
Definitely positive affirmations and just staying on the positive. The worst thing someone could do who has gotten a bad diagnosis from a doctor is to go on WebMD and look up every possible scenario. That's the worst thing you could do. It gets you into fear. It gets you into anxiety, which are both negative emotions, which are not going to help with your healing. So it's very important to be careful what you listen to, who you listen to, who you let speak into your life. You want to keep very positive so that your body can heal, and believe in yourself. Believe that your body was created to heal itself, that you're going to cooperate with your body. You're going to cooperate with the universe, with God, with the divine, whoever you call it. Amen. To get yourself back into alignment and into a place of healing and health.
Yes, that's so inspiring. And it's true. No matter what you're going through, how low of a situation, and it's really finding that strength to just stay positive and know that this too shall pass and it's temporary and you're going to learn so much from it. And you're right, be stronger. And it's interesting you said affirmations because I wasn't a big affirmation. Yeah, I obviously know about them. And but I wasn't really practicing as much as I have this year. This year, since January, I've been really making them as part of my daily routine. Can I tell you what a difference it makes? Like, wow, like when something goes wrong, so I'm rebranding, as I mentioned as well. And yeah, there's a lot of things that are not going as planned, especially in terms of the scheduling and the time frame. I just literally leave, I go for a walk, I listen to some affirmations, and I come back and I'm just renewed. So they're so powerful.
You put yourself back in that mindset. I'm resilient. I can do this. And you just speak to yourself, whatever your mind hears the most, it will eventually believe. Yeah. So if you're speaking positivity and strength to your mind will believe that, and then it will go ahead and create that in your life. And you begin to attract those things as well in your life. So affirmations are so powerful, and I encourage them for everyone.
Yes. And what are your thoughts on people that have come back to me and said, I'm doing all these affirmations, I'm thinking positive, and things are still not going well? What do you think is going on there?
Well, it's a process, number one. And number two, this is what I find with people. People are so funny. They try things. So when you try something, that means you don't think it's going to work. You're not fully in. You haven't bought in. You haven't invested. So if you're going to try this or try that, it's not going to work. So you need to be all in. If you have to believe something in order for it to work in your life. So you have to believe in the affirmations. And if you believe in something and you stick with it, it will work.
Yeah, belief, faith that it is.
Yeah, well, scripture says that too, right? As a man thinketh, so is he. That's the power of attraction, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so it's even scriptural. These are just laws of the universe. And so that's what I would tell people. You don't just try it and then you become negative. You have to believe that every day I'm getting better. I'm getting stronger. I'm growing. I'm evolving. Every day is a day less in this problem, right? Always like seeing the positive.
Yes, I love that. I'm actually going to share that with her. And now you got me, George Michael's song. You gotta have faith, faith, faith.
Right? So true.
That now in my head. It's so true. Okay, so then there's the acknowledgement of the actual grief and what the emotions. So do you believe in negative and positive emotions, or are they just emotions but they're vibrating on a different frequency? What are your thoughts around negative labeling the emotions?
Yeah. So when I tell people to label their emotions, I want them to acknowledge, for example, I am experiencing anger as opposed to I am angry. I'm experiencing sadness rather than I am sad. I never want people to take ownership of a lower or more negative feeling. You acknowledge it, so you don't want to ignore it, but you also don't want to take ownership of that, because that's not what you want. You don't want to be angry, nor do you want to be sad. And so it's very important that the way people frame things, even for their own brain, because your brain, as you know, will hear things a certain way and then create that. So it's very important that you never say, I am angry, but I'm just experiencing.
Wow. Okay, that's beautiful. I love that technique. That's part of a cognitive behavior therapy, like reframing.
It is. It's part of reframing, but it's part of just not taking on, like you're not allowing those things to define you. They may be emotions and feelings that you're having, but that doesn't mean that they're a permanent part of you. You get to decide what you want to be a permanent part of you. And it doesn't have to be those negative feelings. It doesn't have to be those negative coping mechanisms that perhaps we even grew up with. We could have been in a dysfunctional family. And so we saw our parents coping this way, and we automatically think that that's the right way to cope. And it might not be. There might be better options.
Right. So what are your thoughts on always staying positive and just living in the positivity?
I mean, that's what I do. I always look at the positive side, to the point where my husband says, okay, really? Like, but you know what? I just always stay positive. Always look on the bright side. Always look to see, to understand. And sometimes you don't understand, but you have to have faith that in the end, it will be good.
Yes.
Because if you believe that life is happening for you, then in the end, no matter what you go through, it will be good. And therefore, if you know it's going to be good, you can be positive, knowing that this too shall pass. Like you said, I'm going to get through this. I'm going to be stronger because of it. I'm going to, have more skills because of it. Have you found that it was only during difficulty that you grow? It's just like going to the gym and working your muscles. If you don't ever put them under pressure and stretch them, they never get stronger. And it's the same with your life. As you go through things, you actually do become stronger, and you find out that you have these giftings on the inside of you, this strength on the inside of you that you never had to use before, but it'll come up and come out in different circumstances. And it's so beautiful. And you think, oh my gosh, I didn't know I could do that.
And it happens so much in nature as well, right? Like all of these, like a pearl or a diamond, not a pearl. No, the diamond actually comes from the pressurized environment, right? This beautiful.
Yes, and the pearl too, because it's under irritation.
Yes.
So it's under irritation, problems, right? Difficulties, challenges, continual. And what happens in the end? You get this beautiful pearl. And isn't that maybe the way our life is that we go through things so that we can evolve to become the best version of ourselves?
I agree. So what are some other, did we finish all the strategies, or you have some more that you want to share?
No. So we talked about reframing. And I mean, gratitude is a huge one. I mean, my mom used to always say, getting older sucks, but dying young is worse, right? So
Yeah.
focusing on what you have rather than what you don't, um, and for your friend that's ill or going through something, it's, if you still have breath in your lungs, that means you still have purpose,
Mm,
right?
that's
That means there's
beautiful.
still something for you to accomplish.
Yes.
And I love flipping the script. So because I'm always positive, I like to flip the script. And that's what I do. I do so much mastering mindset with my clients. And so I'll tell them, like, they think, oh, this is the worst thing. And they do all these what ifs. And I'll say to them, what if it turns out better than you expected? What if this change is the beginning of a new adventure or an answered prayer? But you can't see that. It's on the other side of the fear because of the change. So I love to flip the script and use growth mindset with my
Yeah,
clients
those
for
are
sure.
amazing.
Just a
Amazing.
combination of things, depending
Yes.
on what their needs are.
Right, right. So some somatic where you're using the body to help you release and let go, and then some mindset stuff as well. I think they work very well together for sure.
For
So
sure.
strategies.
Strategies like breathing exercises, relaxation, mindfulness, meditation, and prayer works for a lot of people.
Yes.
Exercise or ecstatic dance, spending time in nature.
I love you said it's ecstatic dance. I just, I mean, it's been a couple of years now that I've been doing it, but yes, we should definitely go, Natalie. Have you tried it?
I haven't tried it personally. I've studied it.
Oh, we
And
have to
you
go.
know what? Like different things work for different people. And
Yeah.
I just love to have a lot of different tools and a lot
Yeah.
of knowledge in my tool
Mm.
chest so that I can, recommend things to people. And, Tai Chi works for other people. But it's just important that people take care of themselves, that they get
Yeah.
regular sleep and a balanced diet, and they talk to somebody who they can trust.
Yes. Prioritize.
Ask for help. Ask for help.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with asking for help and having a
Mhm.
mentor or a coach in your life. I mean, I've had a mentor or coach my entire adult life.
Mhm.
And I would so highly recommend it because they help you to soar higher. They help you to see things. Sometimes people can see things in you that you can't see yourself, and they'll help you to get a new vision for your life, bigger than perhaps you would have thought.
Yes, I totally agree. And answer the calls, right? Like in terms of whether it's your body giving you these signs and symptoms of dis-ease, like where the body is not performing how it's supposed to be, like answer that, address it, or other opportunities that are coming your way. Like maybe listening to this podcast or watching it, you're like, huh, maybe I should reach out to this person that seems to be a great fit to be my mentor. So all of these little things to become more aware of and use that intuitive, beautiful, especially us women, we have such an amazing superpower available to us, and often we sort of dampen it or lower the volume on that. I really urge my clients to keep really trusting that intuition. So in terms of grief, because I lost a couple of people, very important, beautiful people in my life, but the one that I was really closest to was my aunt, and I lost her in 2021. And I just felt like the grief, and that's why I got into breath work, and that experience that you had, the journey was because I reconnected with her during the breathwork journey. What are your thoughts on grief? Do we ever really get over grief, or is it something that we live alongside? Now I feel like before it was this deep absence that I felt that she wasn't around, and now I feel like it's a loving presence, that she's always around. Every time I see a flock of birds, I think of her. And every time I tell the story, while I'm before the breathwork journey, if I'm outside, there's always some sort of bird that comes to me, which is so incredible.
I saw some birds on my vacation to Aruba too, and the first person that comes to mind is usually the person. I think sometimes they're thinking about you, or
Yeah.
yeah. So I agree with you. I believe that grief never ends, but it changes. And I've heard this said, and you've probably heard this said, and I think it's so true. And they say that grief is love. Grief is actually love that now has nowhere to go. And so when we lose someone, we must learn not to live without them, but to live with the love that they left behind, with the memories that they left behind. And we can do that by, cherishing the memories and being grateful for the time that we did have with them. I believe people who have passed are forever part of who we are. And so the fact that you said that about your aunt, I believe that to be true.
Beautiful, beautiful. So I think another mechanism you mentioned earlier was cry. So tell us a little bit more about the power of these beautiful tears that roll down our cheeks.
Yes. I mean, crying is not weakness. That's what I want to say, first of all. I encourage people to cry and let out that emotion. Like I said, sit with the emotion, because crying is healing. Research shows that tears of grief are different from regular reflex tears that people have. Wow. Because grief tears, they contain the hormones that cause depression and stress. And did you know that we humans are the only species that can actually produce emotional tears?
Wow. No, I didn't know that.
So a good cry actually releases these hormones, and it stimulates the endorphins, which cause you to feel better. So tears have the power to heal you. That's why when you finish crying, you get like that post-cry calm. Yeah. That's a real thing, because now it's flushed out. Those tears have flushed out the cortisol. It lowers the tension, and it triggers your natural mood boosters in your body.
I love that. Yeah, that's why a good cry is so therapeutic. And that's why I love when people do selfishly, I love it when they cry during the breathwork journey. And I'm just like, yes, cry it out, cry it out.
Let it out, because that's healing, right? Holding back tears only keeps the weight, the loss, the hurt inside of you. It raises your stress levels, it speeds up your heart rate, and it keeps your body in that alert, that fight for flight mode. But if you want to feel lighter, then find a safe place, breathe deeply, and sit down with your feelings and just cry your heart out.
Yeah, and I love adding music, and that's why the experience is so powerful, because of the music. And I was listening to this one track, instrumental, and out because I listen to a lot of like hyper focused classical music when I'm like creating something. I feel like I'm composing something. It's so cool. But I was in a good mood. I was doing my work. I listened to this track. I started bawling my eyes out. I'm like, wow, so powerful. So music as well, I think, to add to that is really
definitely
tears.
That's a really good idea there, and it's so true. And isn't it funny how a song can like just trigger a memory?
Yes.
A song is very powerful.
Yeah, I bring a speaker with me everywhere, including in the shower. I will always have a speaker on vacation, because for me, music is so important. It's very therapeutic. Yeah, very. And what I found with my mom as well, she's a beautiful, beautiful voice. When she started feeling ill, she stopped singing. She didn't want to listen to music anymore. Now we're trying to get her back to doing this. I don't know about singing, but it goes hand in hand in terms of feeling really good and really bringing this modality into your life as well. So that would be probably another technique that I would highly encourage. I love what you said. Yeah, I love what you said about remembering the memories. At first, it was hurtful for me to remember, and I would just go through my messages with her and go through like the pictures we had. And now it's obviously a little easier to do, but I still do it periodically. But I love that, remembering them and just cherishing the moments you had with them, which brings us back to gratitude, right?
Yes, it does. And I believe that everything that we say at funerals, we should be noted at birthdays instead. that we leave
Yes.
so much love unspoken. And when someone passes, then you realize, oh my goodness, I never really did tell them how I really felt about them. That's important too. But in my latest book, It's Okay Not to Feel Okay, I tell people that crying is not only acceptable, but it's necessary. It's a necessary part of healing. And it brings us closer to feeling better and to brighter days ahead. So I tell people, go ahead and cry. Let the negative feelings out. And if you need help processing your loss or grief, just let us know, and we'd be honored to walk that path with you.
Yes. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Natalie. I highly recommend reading the book and getting some more tips and strategies on how to handle grief. But what is the most common advice that you tend to give your clients?
I usually tell people there's always another option or another perspective.
Yes, that's so true.
Look at all the perspectives. We focus on one, we get narrow.
Yeah.
I always tell people there's always another option, another way, and there's always another perspective.
And that's why it's always good to work with someone that can help you uncover those perspectives. So
when you can't.
Yeah, exactly. When sometimes we can't see it. So what is the best advice that you've ever been given?
If you don't like your life, change it.
Yes.
You have the power to change your life. You are the CEO of your mind.
Yes, so true. So true. We have so much untapped potential that we don't even know about. And we can change a shitty situation for sure. So is there an influential book that you've read that really has made
There's
some
so
waves
many
in your life?
I'm going to share two with you, okay? The first, it has to be the Bible. It's like the #1 best-selling book of all time. And it's because it contains lessons about life, relationships, and work, and all the things that give your life meaning and purpose, right? But then the teacher in me loves Oh, the Places You Will Go by Dr. Seuss. It is so profound. And we would give it to students when they graduated. And it just talks about life and all the different things and changes that you go through in life in order to accomplish your purpose. And it's just written so well. So it's Oh, the Places You Will Go by Dr. Seuss.
Thank you. Thank you for that. What we do is we actually gather all of these recommended reads, and then we share them with our audience at the end of the season. So I'm so happy that you have shared two with us. So you obviously, we've talked a little bit about what you do, but what are your top 3 non-negotiable self-care habits, Natalie?
Well, every day I practice prayer and gratitude. I connect with the divine. I connect with that spirit realm with us because I believe that we are tripod beings, spirit, soul, body. And so in order to be healthy, you have to be healthy in all aspects. And that's why I love what you do too, because it helps you tap into that side of you that most of us don't know how to do. And so that's one. The other one is I set boundaries. I have priorities that reflect my values and my goals, and I have to protect my mental health. It took me a long time to get to where I am because of my story and my past. And so now it's very important for me to stay here. And so I tell people it's not a bad thing to set boundaries. It's actually a good thing.
Yeah, we need to normalize that as women as well. The more conversations we have, the more we normalize, the more tools we offer on how to do it, the more comfortable. Again, it's a practice.
It's okay to say no to something.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
It's okay.
Not feel guilty. Yes.
And not feel guilty.
Yes.
And it's okay to put yourself first. As women, we don't do that enough. We put everyone before ourselves. And we can't be there for others if we're not at our peak.
Yeah.
Well, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Right. Right. So I'm sorry, was that 2?
Yes.
Okay.
And the third is, and I think I mentioned this, I ask for help when I need it. I get help.
Nice.
I don't struggle. I don't try to figure things out on my own. I figure that's why there's people that have gone before me that have done these things that can share their wisdom and their knowledge.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm very humble. I don't pretend to know everything. Instead, I seek out other individuals like yourself. You know more about breath work than me. I can learn from you. And so I ask for help when needed.
Nice. I love that one. That one is very profound. I think a lot of us, especially if we're so used to doing things our way and our on our own as well, it's very difficult to ask for help, but it's very humbling as you mentioned as well. So thank you. That's I like that one. That's really that hit home for me as well. Thank you. So what is your legacy, Natalie? What do you want to be known for?
I would love to be known for someone who helps people to master their mindset so that they can become the person that they were created to be and fulfill their purpose. Like help people get their life back on track.
Yeah.
That's what I would love to be known for.
Yes, I love that. That's so beautiful. Thank you. Because we're so meant to live an amazing life and not a crappy one, and not one stuck in a job that you don't like, that doesn't motivate and inspire you, and be surrounded by incredible people. And the more we acknowledge this and we actually change and do something about it, like as you mentioned earlier, the more we inspire other people to do it and do the same. Because oftentimes, I'm sure you get this too, it's like, how are you so happy all the time? And it's just like it's a choice, right? Being
Yeah, and women especially don't realize that they're worthy, that they're
Yes.
valuable,
Yes.
they're loved.
Yes. There's some more affirmations for you there. Thank you. Thank you so much. So where can people connect with you, and also the book? Tell us a little bit more about that.
So you can connect with me. The name of my foundation is Empowered Life Coaching Foundation, and you can reach me at empoweredlcf.ca. That's the website domain, or you can email me at empoweredlifecoaching25@gmail.com. I'm actually in the middle of a rebrand and a relaunch. I pulled back. Rita, you and I have that in common, and that it takes more strength to pull back and to reorganize, to get clarity, and instead of just continuing to move forward when you sense that things aren't right. And so I commend you, because that is it's not an easy thing to do.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And the book is called It's Okay to Not Feel Okay. It's available on Amazon and Kindle, Audible. It comes in an ebook and also a paperback, and it's available right now. What else can I say? I do women's retreats, including equine therapy. It's called Empower Her, and I've got a couple of dates this year. The first one is June the 7th. And the second is September 13th. Love you to come out, and we'll have a day of empowerment, and we'll talk about loss, and we'll talk about women's health and how to just keep strong, keep positive, keep soaring.
Yes, together. I love that. That's beautiful. Well, I'm looking forward to catching up with you in person as well, and being and supporting you and being at these events. So yes, count me in for sure.
I want to do another one of your sessions, because I tell you, I was taken away. I don't know where I was, but I wasn't there anymore. It was just awesome and so powerful. So thanks for what you do.
Thank you. Thank you. That's really lovely. And thank you for your beautiful energy, your time, sharing your amazing knowledge and experience, writing the book. And you're just a beacon of light and truth, and just shining so bright, and for yourself, for your loved ones, for the community, for women around the world. And I'm just so, so blessed and grateful that our paths have crossed. We met at an expo. I think it was a wellness expo. And I just, your energy, I was just like,
you were instantly connected.
A moth to a flame. I'm like, what? I want to get to know her. Exactly. I want to get to know her, and I definitely need to stay connected. So I am so grateful that we've had this conversation, and yes, looking forward to the future and other things to collaborate on. Thank you. Have a beautiful rest of the day.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Sending you lots of love, lots of blessings.
Thank you for tuning in to the Self-Care Goddess podcast. If today's episode inspired you, share it with another woman who's ready to reclaim her vitality and lead from within. To continue your journey, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and connect with me on ritasavoia.com. Until next time, remember, self-care isn't selfish, it's your superpower. Take a deep breath in, exhale, and keep rising. Ciao for now.